We start out on this new road. No turning back. But we have our ancestors with us. We're going to continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Being them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world, planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams, we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire, and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs, they still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive as well.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Pakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapu. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapu.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 LA natives.
LA natives. How's my community out there?
It's been a very productive week, Zero.
I just trying to put together so much stuff for our faithful LA natives. I mean, since Masatzin stepped onto our podcast, it's been bananas about the Tonalamat and the excitement that's around this information. But not only just Masatzin, right? Because there's other people that know about stuff. And from what I got from Masatzin was that there was a community that built this, right, Armando?
Yes.
And guess who that community is? LA natives, brother.
That's right.
And that's what we've been working on since Masatzin stepped onto the podcast, brother. We've been working relentlessly trying to figure out the books, look at the charts. And you know what he told me right now? I just finished talking to him like about 2 minutes ago. He's all, oh man, I want to be on the show and this and that. And this brother has so much heart. He wants to be on every show, but you don't sit in Jaime Escalante's class like right off the bat. You know, you gotta be a really talented brother to do that. And so we're gonna try to take you in phases on how to get to the point. Because you know what he told me? He's all, you're not gonna get it. He's all, you're not gonna get it. And I go, what? He's all, you're not gonna get it. And I go, He's all, because it has to be given to you. He's all, you need a coach. And so what I'm proposing is that Masatzin teaches me, and as he teaches me, we figure out a way to document that. And then there'll be hundreds of people that could read this book and use this chart. And you could be your own Masatzin, maybe not, let me take that back. But you could be the individual who can shine light onto their life by knowing how to read this Tonalama and the Tonal Mashiach. Now, I'm not proposing that we have all the answers and that Masatzin's the new Tlatoani. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that LA Native's got a group of very dedicated individuals who put together books, posters, who do lectures, and we're going to feature them on our Patreon. And we're going to put together a concise, clear direction if you are to fulfill the great prophecy that our great abuelo Cuauhtemoc said that would happen. He said that one day the sun would shine on us. What does that mean? One day the sun shines on us every day. What does that mean? Well, the sun is light, and light is information. That light will tell a flower it's time to bloom because it's springtime. That light will tell the tree it's time to drop your leaves. It's wintertime. Once the sun would shine on us again. What does that mean? It means if you know how to read the Tonal Mashiach and combine it with the Tonal Lamat, that the sun will shine on you. You will be given your energy, and you will be able to live within that energy. But not only just doing that, today we're talking to my buddy Daniel. And Daniel is like a very, very wise individual when it comes to Mexica culture, unbiased and direct. But we need to know the basics. We need to know se, ome, ye, nawi, makwili. Right? That's as far as I can go. I know a lot of the philosophy. I read a lot of the books. But what did Masatzin said? Masatzin said that the sunstone is a culmination of all communities of Turtle Island's knowledge. That means that our abuelos had to sit with their abuelos. Humble. Learn it, bring it back, and do not exploit it. So the answer to what one day the sun will shine on us again is understanding Tonali, because you are given a piece of the sun when you were born. A piece of wisdom. It's up to you how you use it. It's up to you how you manipulate it. It's up to you if you work together like a community, compiling for the next 7 generations. That's where we're at, Armando. What do you think?
Wow. I can't wait to the conversation we have with your friend.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming up like around
7 o'clock.
7 sharp.
Yeah. So please tag people. You got to get your friends on this. We need to have like 200, 300, 500, because what we're trying to teach or we're trying to give. No, that's the way he said it. We're not trying to teach anything, because teaching requires you to be submissive to somebody, and we're not submissive to anything but the sun. Right?
Shout out to Sub One.
Sub. Hey, I just IG'd you, bro.
Shout out to Sapana. Shout out to.
I feel so
Hector.
at home, bro, on Wednesdays. Like Wednesdays are fun.
Northern California Chicano.
Is he from Northern Cali? Nice.
Native
Northern
Tennessee's.
Cali. Northern Cali's in the Cali.
I want to thank everyone for the new merch orders. Really appreciate it. We got new hoodies available, black with the white logo. We have all of our t-shirts available. Simply go on our website, cop them, support. We definitely have some events cooking, Zero.
I want to do a show on June 25th.
June 25th, guys.
'Cause I plan
Did
on-
you guys hear that? June 25th.
I plan on releasing a global pandemic on that day. So I'm
Wow.
getting everything, the mix. I'll probably be mixing the song, the final mix, the final master. Global pandemic will be released on June 25th. And hopefully, hint, hint, I suppose, will contribute.
We
to the
have
video.
such an amazing guest coming up this Sunday. My buddy, I suppose, has done so much for the
Hip-hop
SoCal
scene. Hip-hop.
underground hip hop community.
This dude is a monster then in the under. Dude, I've never seen people like 500 kids at a Starbucks lining up for his sweater.
I was working with the guy since 2005.
I've known him since he was probably 17 years old. He used to film El Vuh at the Tia Chucha's coffee house.
Wow.
I'm so proud of that dude. He surpassed me so far, like that in terms of merchandising and making himself a brand.
Shout out to the chosen one. Shout out to
You don't want to miss this
Boogs.
episode.
Shout out to Boogs. What's cracking?
Boogs is Sunday and Wednesday, huh?
This is our Wednesday's discussions, our Warriors Think Tank. If you guys have any questions, if there's any topics you guys want to talk about, just let us know. Add it to the chat. We will bring them up on screen. Feel free to join us via video chat. If you feel like you want to get on the camera with us and do a one-on-one discussion with our live audience, just simply add your email to the chat room and we'll send you that link so you could join us.
Yeah, interactive.
But 7 p.m., guys, we got an amazing guest jumping on.
Daniel's so cool. I've known Daniel for a very long time. It's like we all started at the same time learning all this stuff and getting into it and debating and doing all that stuff. But now we're all mature. We all know how to handle ourselves. We all know how to, like Masatin said, you won't get it. It's not to get. It's not something you own. It's not something that's yours. Something that's given to you. And that's what we're trying to provide here now.
And again, I want to shout out everyone that donated to that segment. It really helped them out.
He said he's so busy. He's all, man, I got 100 and like, you know, not 100, but you know, he was saying, man, dang, I'm really busy on this Tonalamat stuff.
Yeah.
And guess what? If we ask him properly, he'll teach us how to read it, and then we can share and give a piece of the sun back to the people who want to know what their energy is, right? Because that's the great prophecy that the sun would shine on us again. So imagine, Armando, if you knew how to read this book and read this chart and tell your cousin, hey, bro, you're a monkey, bro. What do you mean I'm a monkey? Yeah, let's look at this together. Oh, shit, it is. Yeah, damn, I am kind of like that. Like, wouldn't that be a cool thing to do for your family member, your friend, in a humble way, and still fulfilling a prophecy? This is the goal. Curriculum, humility, community, food, music, life. It's ours. We need to live it.
So
That's
we do
fine.
have a comment in the chat from the chosen one. He says, have you guys watched the documentary Exterminate All the Brutes? If that's how you pronounce it. I haven't personally watched that documentary. Have you?
No. I
That's
haven't.
something I might want to check out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Absolutely. I love that's the beauty is that when the abuelo said that we all culminated this knowledge, you know what I've been getting in my DMs in Instagram, Armando? People giving me content. Hey, research this dude. Oh, this dude knows that. This dude's this. Thank you so much for all your brothers that do the research and feel like they want to share that with us.
And again, I want to repeat what Zero just said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people taking our podcast and giving us such valuable feedback to the point that they're actually recommending guests for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we're sitting up there with big wig ones, you know, like Davey D's, street scholars. I mean, I've been listening to Davey D since 96. I mean, this brother's still going strong, and I'm sure this podcast is going to be. So shout out to street scholars.
So native tendencies. For so long, the colonizer has profited off the knowledge of our ancestors. It's time we take the power back to our elders.
If we learn how to give respect, love, and I'm talking about myself, okay? if I learn how to respect, love, understand the ones that came before me in humility, love, I have a lot of appreciation for my mom, my father who has passed away, my grandfather and grandmother who has passed away. I wish I was in this consciousness to show them the amount of love that I have for them. Hopefully, the son carries that message to them. Because it's time, man. Us coming together and sharing and contributing to the platform of LA natives, I can only say Tlazocamatli. Thank you.
And our first show that we made an appearance on right here at Mexico New Year, we got great feedback. Just goes to show, man, like
they're ready. They're ready to see shows.
I've been a part of a lot of projects where, you know, we try to brand ourselves and go out to an event. And you never expect the first show to turn out okay. You're always, you know, thinking it might take a couple of shows just to make a presence. But the first show, a lot of people went up to the booth
and bought merchandise.
Right.
So thank you there. We're seeing that the community is building their Cali. Armando and I are just the people that are putting it all together.
Right. This is your guys' show.
Yeah.
You guys motivate us to do this every week.
Absolutely.
Twice a week.
And there's going to be free events. Free events are going to be the result of this.
Yes.
Free events. Free lectures.
Whittier Boulevard just got the new breath fresh air.
Man, there's so much that's going to happen at Malinali, at the Cali at Malinali on Whittier Boulevard, 4528 Whittier Boulevard. We're going to have every Sunday a plant-based brunch with table vendors so that you can buy your, you know, shirts and your necklaces, and maybe hopefully we'll have our tonalamats and our posters there, and you can enjoy drinks that are not made with sugar. We use an ancient sweetener called agave.
And we will be setting up some live streams there too, so people could actually see it.
Oh, it's gonna be a family, bro. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a family. You know, we're gonna eat some plant-based, healthy food. We're gonna drink healthy drinks and buy mineral powder and add our connection to our Mother Earth.
So we have a comment here from Bobby. He says, Zero, we need to show more positive culture for our youth teaching and less talk about the enemy.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we also have to let things take its course because a lot of people are angry and they suffered a lot. But when you come to your house, you don't want to think of it like this metaphorically, right? LA Natives is not a place where you go argue. This is not that forum. LA Natives is where you go and you go, hey, I learned this. And we go, oh, thank you so much for bringing it. Look, we're going to share it with everyone else, right? You think this Aztec calendar is an Aztec calendar only for Aztec people or Aztec blood lineage? This is a global calendar. Mazatzin made it very clear that this calendar can, if you follow the energies of this calendar, it's not just Aztec. You become Aztec because you've studied everything. Everything. Buddha, Christian, everything. Everything. You know, you have a concept of it because nothing's more powerful than the sun and the light that it gives, which is information. It's so overwhelming that your mind can't process it all. That's why you have thoughts, right? Tons and tons of thoughts because it's light hitting you, right? But then you can focus in on your energy. And your thoughts don't have to be random. They can be very precise, very humble, and you can have an amazing experience here on the Tonantzin that we live on. Tona, energy. Seeing the great energy. We live on the great energy. Pleiade. That's who we are. And we're trying to learn it again. Or no, we're trying to remember. So this is a Cali where you contribute. You don't argue.
And most
You
importantly,
debate.
yeah, sorry to cut you off,
No, it's
Zero,
all good.
all I ask from our audience is to be on the lookout for your new single, Zero.
Which will
I
be
think-
released on June 25th.
I think it's going to be vital for our audience to not only listen to the new single that's going to come out, but to share the single to as many people as they can.
I want to give away a Tonali Nagual CD, okay? If for the audience out there, whoever could tell me what happened on June 25th, why I'm picking June 25th, you're going to get a CD, Tonali Nagual. Hard copy. Whoever could tell me why June 25th, it's there. It's a simple Google search. But whoever can tell me that will get my mixtape for free. Unreleased music has Greet the Sun. Most of what I played at Mexica New Year is on that mixtape. So if you like my performance at Mexica New Year, that's on my mixtape, which will be available on the website too, right, Armando, pretty soon?
Yes.
As well as all the other El Vuh CDs and merchandise.
I'll actually put the mixtape up for sale tonight.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give one away. So
Yeah.
it's appropriate, you know. But yeah, Tonali Nagual mixtape. Why did I pick June 25th to release Global Pandemic? Has anybody gave us an answer?
Boogs says, can't wait.
Absolutely. See, there's already one sold. Boogs wants to buy it. Didn't we send you one, Boogs? I thought we sent you a mixtape. But come on, guys. It's simple. Type in Google June 25th. I'm going to give you a hit. 18 something. June 25th, 18 something. I think it was 18. I know you guys could do it. It's a little game. We're going to give you the Tonali Nagual, unless nobody wants this. Thanks, Armando. So here, unreleased music. Make sure it's the right way. Okay. Tonali Nagual. CD.
Honestly, guys, I be bumping that CD almost every day.
What did somebody put right there on the bottom?
Revolt from Spanish.
No, that's the wrong answer. Did you Google search it? June 25th.
This is Boogs. Sweater, but hasn't gotten here yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and you know what? It's cool that you ordered the sweater because I just picked up a new batch of the double XLs because I believe you got a double XL. So it's getting processed as we speak. I'm about to be putting it in the mail in a couple days, brother. I really appreciate the support, man.
Absolutely.
And bro, our double XLs fly off the shelves. I'm personally a double XL and Zero is a double XL. So that's our most in demand size. So I really appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Did someone get the answer?
Looking forward to it, fam. Revolt from Spanish. Little Bighorn.
Yes. Custer's Last Stand was June 25th.
The Chosen One just won a dope mixtape.
Here we go. The Chosen One just won Tonali Nagual. There we go.
I just zoomed in for y'all.
New music. It's going to be re-released.
One of the dopest mixtapes I've personally bumped in the last few years, man. Like, definitely a...
This,
classic.
you know how long? I wrote this 8 years ago. I wrote this mixtape 8 years ago. It's so relevant now. But yeah, that's what it was. Custer's Last Stand, June 25th. So I'm going to start releasing music on our days, the days that we won, right? Because we're all one indigenous family according to this Tonal Machio. We're all one collective. And it's time to share and bring back the stories of victory. So Global Pandemic will be released on June 25th to commemorate Custer's Last Stand.
So yes, for anyone that's curious on how to get this mixtape, by tonight, within the next 24 hours for sure, that mixtape's going to be available on our website. Just simply visit lanativespodcast.com, go to the merch area, and cop it.
Absolutely. Be available.
And feel free, if you want it signed, let us know. Zero can sign it for you.
Sure, man. That's like an honor. I like to build connections with people who people like the music. You know, it's not my music. It's the communication that I get from a culmination of information that my grandfathers left for me, for us. I take it very serious, you know. And oh, here's a little sample of it.
Little sample, guys.
Let's do this.
Let us know how you guys think.
This one's called The Dawn of a New Age.
What you guys think?
This is to commemorate 2012 and the great shift that happened, right?
This is the dawn of a new age. The Milky Way has come to turn the page. This is the time where we must be our own sage. Connection is essential to reach maximum potential. I'm the opposite of confidential. The new time is here. The red road is clear and there's nothing to fear. I use my heart as my ears. Sacred water are my tears from the celestial. I'll connect the soul with the gravitational pull. A Metzli's love, that's the moonbeams that shine from above, giving us her light, giving us the will to fight. It's never too late to make things right. This is our mother too, for the land belongs to me and you, and the waters and the rivers and the oceans too. Our universal right, the time is turned from dark to light. Let your heart shine bright, yo.
Listen to this message.
You have a message to humanity that you would
Fire it up a little bit.
Pues a todos los hermanos donde llegue este mensaje que estoy hablando con ustedes. To all my brothers and sisters who listen to this message. Estas palabras no son míos, es de los abuelos. First of all, these words are not mine. They are words of my ancestors. En la profecía de los mayas está. It is in the Maya prophecy. En el tiempo 12 Bactum. That in the time of the 12 Bactum. 13 Ajao. And 13 Ajao. El regreso de los abuelos. It is the return of the ancestors. El retorno de los hombres sabios. It is the return of the men of wisdom. Que amanezca. Let the morning come. Que llegue la aurora. Let the dawn come. Dejando este mensaje que que tomen gran miedo al mundo. So I am here with you. This message right now is not to be afraid, and take this message, spread it throughout the world.
Dawn of a New Age.
What we're seeing today.
Wow,
Dawn
you
of a New
picked some
Age.
of the dopest beats, dude.
Was that Antro?
I don't know.
I think that was Anthro
think
Beats.
so?
I think it was. That was Anthro Beats. So he produced Fora. I have a long history with like all these rappers that are really famous, and you know, I meet them when they're about to break.
And that's just a taste of the mixtape, guys. Like, there's some joints on there that are really, really powerful. Track number 1, right off the bat.
Right. Greet the Sun.
Greet the Sun.
Greet the Sun. Greet the Sun. I played that at the Mexican New Year. That was. I gotta put up pieces of the Mexican New Year because I know people out of town weren't able to see it or they would be interested in that. But yeah, mixtape will be available on the website.
And these are collector items, guys. I want to make it clear that when you get a El Vuh CD or a Zero CD, these are like national treasures, in my opinion, because CDs are like it's like a commodity now, like a collector's piece.
Right. Well,
and even Zero, you might even be considering pushing some vinyls. That's
I do want to do
maybe
Jaguar
a journey
Prophecies.
that you've never dabbled into. Maybe getting some vinyls pressed
I think Jaguar Prophecies needs to be pressed on vinyl. Like Jaguar Prophecies,
for all
like,
the good DJs out there, you know.
yeah, and that would be like a rare piece of LA music history, right? Because no other group other than Aslan Underground, they were more of a band. They became more of a band where El Vuh stood as a hip hop group.
Yep.
Traditional beats, traditional rhyme schemes. It never evolved into a band, El Vuh. So I think that an El Vuh Jaguar Prophecies vinyl is a piece of LA music history. And you know what? It's beautiful to be able to do that 100% owning the masters, 100% owning the art. You know, I don't have to deal with anybody because this is all independent music produced by three good brothers. You know what I mean? Now, we have to count 4 because Evolution, we included Chilan, who became a practitioner of holistic medicine. He became an acupuncturist. So the person that was featured on El Vuh, who was planning on doing more records with us, became a person of Chinese medicine. So we've been giving medicine for a long time in this community, and we're culminating it here in LA Natives. We got a good team on our hands. We got Richie.
We have a good, solid network of excellent hip hop artists that we've interviewed.
Dreezus.
Shout out to Sub
Olmeca.
Sub One.
Sub One is fire. You guys gotta go. You guys gotta jump on Sub One because we're gonna be doing some music together, me and Sub One.
Jag from Cosmic Force. Azamali.
Callie Marie. Shout out to Callie Marie. She went to the Mexica New Year to check. Well, obviously the Mexica New Year out, but she definitely gave us a compliment on our performance, our table. She was at our table for a little bit.
Dope.
You know, shout out to Callie Marie. Man, I'm so happy. It seems like everything's fulfilling. It's making itself known innately. It's like a culmination of love, right?
So how do you feel about a lot of our fans tagging you amongst other successful, if not blowed up podcasts out there like Hoodstocks, Tony the Wizard, Rhodium Radio? What was the other one? The other big one?
I mean, those podcasts, like,
shout out to those guys.
They're like in the hundreds of episodes. Right?
If I think this is too much work, I can only imagine what they deal with.
Yeah, because they're like in the hundreds of episodes.
Yeah,
right? They're like,
and they get thousands of views.
Yeah,
you know.
But we're a different vibe. You know, it's not about like the one thing that we don't.
Shout out to all the fans that are putting you amongst that list.
Well, I humbly sit there, but all I'm doing is being myself.
Was it Street Scholars or Hood Scholars?
Hoodstocks.
Hoodstocks. Yeah.
Hoodstocks. Yeah. I mean, shout out to all the influencers who helped me proliferate my message, like Richie, bro. Like, if it wasn't for 1492 and the younger generation, like you mentioned, there's 4 generations here in LA Natives. You got Richie to Armando. You got Armando to me, and you got me to Masatzin and Daniel. There's 10 years between me and Daniel. There's 10 years. There's more than 10 years between me and Masatzin. But this is a love intention. You don't culminate and suffer and climb over mountains and go through deserts and to bring back wisdom so that your great grandchildren will once again be able to utilize the energy of the great father, Tonatu. This is so beautiful. Everybody who's a part of it. Thank you, LA Natives.
Shout out to Defy. Don't want to forget about Defy.
Oh, yeah. Defy was dope. Mexico.
I've been listening to a lot of Dreezus lately, man. I definitely slept on him, and man, I can't wait.
That's good production. His production is really
I can't wait
dope.
to see him perform live.
In LA?
You know? Yeah, for sure.
Like, these guys have no idea of the talent that we're making internationally. And we haven't even crossed the border into Mexico because, you know, ethos.
So, you know, mentioning Rhodium Radio, Street Scholars, and what was the other podcast called? Hoodstocks.
Mm-hmm.
I love what they're doing, but I do not want to get this podcast confused with a Latino Chicano podcast.
No, this is not that.
That was something that I wanted to speak on, Zero.
This is not Latino at all. I'm going to break down Latino for you, okay? Here's what Latino is. Latino is a language. It's not a race of people. Why would you use a language to name a race of people? Because they had to be erased. How come everybody who quote unquote is Latino happens to have brown skin? Right? Latin countries, like if they own the whole continent of Danahuak, they don't own nothing. They're liars and thieves and came with the fake doctrine. So I can't be a language X. I can't be that. You know what it is? Put them with the Latinos. Allá esos Latinos, esos cabrones allá, póngalos allá. Pinches Latinos, se van a sentar aquí y se van a aprender el español. de Gran España, porque ya no son mexicas. No son. Mexicas no. Mexicano. 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 You're not a language. Snap out of that. You're original people of the continent of Danahuak, who your great-grandfathers left a stone on which you can find your piece of the sun and carry out your mission here on earth. That's who you are, not Latino. I want to make that clear.
Shout out to L40 Water. He says, tell him, Uncle Zero, I will never call myself Latino.
Ever. Ever. Ever.
And you were speaking on this in all over the El Vuh albums back in 2001, 99 to 2000.
Our first record was 99. Well, that was the Calpuli project that I worked on. But then that awakening in 94 really kind of awoken us to our indigenous blood and our indigenous understanding. But the identity wasn't enough. You have to implement the practices that our ancestors left for us. You have to eat the foods that they engineered for thousands of years. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but when you do it, you feel the whole fulfillment of being a tuned human, a finely tuned human, an Aztec. You're not born Aztec. You become Aztec because you studied everybody's wisdom. And Daniel's going to talk a little bit about that when we get him on. You know. What time is it?
And who is Daniel?
Daniel's my buddy. He studied in the Universidad. I'm going to let him break down where he studied, but I think it was the University of Danahuak. And it was during the time of the Great Awakening in 94, you know, where the sun started to give out secrets. Not secrets, but start pointing us to the light, you know, start pointing the direction to the right stones, to the right teachers, to the right. And so from there comes Masatzin, El Vuh, Aslan Underground, This, I mean, so many indigenous artists that really represent not the retaking back of the land or retaking back of an identity, because they can never strip the land from you and they can never strip your identity. You just can be hidden from it.
So how you always mention, like, and this is how I see it too, your music is more relevant now than ever before. Why do you feel that way?
When the manipulation of masses of people are led to commercialism, like what happened in September 11th? What did George Bush tell you to do to solve everything? Go back to buy shit. Consume. Everything's fine. Don't worry about the World Trade Centers, the transfer of wealth, the Patriot Act. Don't worry about that. Just go buy shit. And if you're given money and loans and money's available to you and you're young, you're not going to listen to somebody telling you, hey, learn your tonal. And hey, it goes over people's head. They don't even care about it. They don't even think racism exists. When Obama was in office, racism doesn't exist. What are you talking about? We have a black president. Yeah, but that was the most racist policies that ever passed. Do you know the kids in cages is a result of Obama's presidency? Am I correct on that?
And that's going to be a topic we're going to be discussing, I believe, next Wednesday with, I believe, a few advocates and lawyers.
I don't know exactly, but I know he had something to do with it because there's a one-party system. I don't have to. This is not a, hey, let's pretend that the Democrats are good guys and the Republicans are the bad guys. No, they're all bad guys.
We're going to be covering all this next Wednesday. Kids
in cages. Come on, bros. Kids in cages with Mylar blankets. You think that guy's a good guy? The Democrat guy? He's a good guy? Bernie Sanders is a good guy? Fucking Bernie Sanders, mother. My life is as infinite as movement in measure. My spirit meditating between sadness and pleasure. Stay in the center. It helps me remember that I'm not afraid of my reflection. My Mexica wisdom is my recollection. Mexica profound wisdom is my recollection, erasing the infection of a colonized oppression. Indigenous people terrified. No one stopped the whites from continuing the genocide. Tell them fake fucking politicians to pick a side. The rich elites are eating us alive. Water is life and the earth is sacred. No one ever ruled this world with hatred. That's what I say to a fucking politician. So if you think fucking Biden is gonna take kids out of cages, you need to do some more research. Sorry, I got a little emotional, but it's kids in cages. Kids in cages.
How do you feel about the mainstream media just continuing pushing that narrative right now?
That what narrative? That things are opening up and everything still stays closed? You know, you got to be ultra rich to go out and see a concert. Come on, man. The sun has shined on us. We know our tonal. Kids are in cages. We have a lot of work to do as a community that takes responsibility for its own community. Not a war on whites. Not throw the government over. Not that. Take responsibility. Do the work. The elders left us everything we needed. Yes, they disappeared because they stole them from us. Human traffickers do that. Racist colonial elites feel like we don't matter. But if we say that we don't matter and we never say that we never matter, and we start fighting amongst each other about, hey, I'm a Latino. And then, oh, you're not indigenous. You can't prove your blood. Enough with that. I met some really light-skinned brothers who are more dedicated than a lot of other brothers. But the time for fighting and all that shit is gone. It's gone. But just know one thing. Democrat, Republican, kids in cages. None of them. Bernie Sanders. Did Bernie Sanders go out there and try to fucking take those kids out of cages?
So we have a comment here from Elon 8. My question is why we spend more time on the enemy instead of how we're going to help them. Let's teach more positive culture. Teach our ways. After 500 years, we still stand strong.
Look, guys, I understand. This is not a political forum. But kids are in cages. I'm sorry. Kids are in cages. I would love for me to show you the Aztec calendar and you turn your head. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm saying we have work. There's work. There's value in becoming an eagle. Understanding that eagle vision. Not being afraid to fly higher than anything. Kids in cages. Use that wisdom towards kids in cages.
So Sub One says it's on us for not uniting and having a community for our people to come home to.
Wow. Again, I know I got emotional, but it's kids in cages. Okay? With Mylar blankets. Okay. The brother's right, and I humble myself to him. This is not the forum where we debate. This is the forum where we learn. But if we're going to learn something, let's put it to a notable cause. Like kids in cages. That's all I'm saying, Armando.
So Himalayan Queen says, I'll take one of those kids right now with no money, ready and willing.
That's what we need. We need to be inspired to create solutions.
We can't just watch the news and blame the left or blame the right or blame each other because they're all in on it.
Yeah. Dude.
There's money being made at this time at those cages.
Armando.
People are profiting big time.
Armando, like, they're sprouting out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, they're in Pomona. Out of nowhere, they're in, like...
You hear about that? Long Beach?
Long Beach, Pomona. Now, what the fuck is Tran? Where were these fucking kids at? All of a sudden, they're sprouting out everywhere. But, again, we're gonna talk a little. We're gonna contrast.
And this is why next Wednesday is going to be vital, because from what I know, we got a lawyer coming in and an activist that's
they want to expose.
They want to express their feelings on our network and to our community.
Right, but okay, let's not get lost though. I know what the brother's saying is like, I don't want to hear negative things. I don't want to hear negative things about Biden and you're right. I don't want to hear that shit either. But it exists. Of course, 99% of my shows or our shows are going to revolve around our Mexica culture. But we don't get fired up about kids in cages. Man, it's fucking kids in cages. That's your fucking lineage, man. That's fucking kids in cages. If your heart don't go out to that, we need to tune ourselves more. We need to get in tune. That's what we need to do. And I'm not saying that I'm going to go out there and start,
right?
protesting. I'm not saying that. It's not my job. My job is LA natives, put platforms, call the lawyer, do this. If I can do whatever I can to assist, do my part. I'm just one ray. I'm just one hair on the spider. I'm just one ray of the sun. I'm not the whole entire continent. I'm one blade of grass. I'm not the whole forest. I'm one tree. I'm one seed on that tree. But I have to say something about kids in cages. Armando, if you don't say anything about kids in cages, of indigenous kids in cages, it's not going to be my whole platform and forum, because I have other pressing issues. But I am going to say a little bit about it, because that's my family. And once we start seeing and recognizing our family, once we know our tonales, once we know our tonalis, and the sun shines upon us once again, it will see dignity. It will shine upon us once again. We are going to be dignified enough to read this great piece of finished work. They finished the work. That's what Uncle said.
So Himalayan Queen says protesting doesn't help. We need to find another solution.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Any suggestions?
Find your tonal. Find your tonal. Study as much as you can from someone who has laid it out as best as he can. Then internally ask your energy, your creative energy, to come up with a solution to inhumane practices. That's how we do it. I believe that's how we do it. Because we won't be fighting over Democrat or Republican, because you'll be an eagle. You'll be a Cuba. You'll be a Cali. You'll be a Xochitl. There's no political in that. That's math and love, determination, persistence, and wisdom. That's what that is.
Right.
So we ready to bring my brother Daniel?
I see him in the waiting room. I just don't see
He's
any
there?
audio or video. But I know he's with us, so hopefully we could troubleshoot this. If not, we could just simply give the brother a call and we could put him in through Bluetooth.
Okay. But his you're saying that his audio doesn't work?
Let me find out if he is on with us. Yo.
Daniel. Okay, he's probably not on yet.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Probably not ready yet.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Daniel's gonna come on, and we're gonna get back to our regularly scheduled programming, a Danahuak learning. Look, our ancestors finished the work, and our job, my job, is I did a lot of research on that. So I found the foods, and I built a place called Malinali Superfoods. And then I ran into Masatzin, the great Masat, the great deer who brought medicine, which is the books. Then I met Armando, and Armando said, hey, I have See how it's all contributing by many different sources and no one's the leader. I'm not the leader. I hope that's clear. I'm passionate. I'm loving. But I'm not the leader. Because this whole sunstone's the leaders. You are the leaders. We're just one hair on a big spider. We're just one ray in this huge sun. That's what we are. We got Daniel?
I think we got him now.
All right.
Let's go ahead and bring him on board and see what we could do.
Yo, Daniel.
What's up? What's up, Zero?
What's up, Daniel?
Luckily, we got technology. My nephew called me up.
Oh, did he help you with it?
No, I was busy trying to hook him up, realizing, oh shit, I'm supposed to be on.
Oh, damn. Okay, that was it. Well, you're here now. Welcome to LA Natives.
Oh, it's good to be back.
And it's me and Armando here.
Right on. What's up, Armando?
What up, Daniel? Welcome back, brother.
Prior to you coming on here, Daniel, like we're just going over like, general topics and, certain things that we've, come to understand, like Masatsin's book and breakdown of the Tonalama and his breakdown of the Tonal Machio. Now, this is very complicated math and very complicated concepts to understand. I thought when I used to talk to you about 22 years ago, we used to have these very philosophical talks about math, right? Basic numbers, basic understanding. Se, ome, yeah, nawe, right?
Right.
And it would be amazing to incorporate that to our audience so that when they, get another step on the pyramid, they're, oh, wow, at least I know se, ome, yeah, nawe. I know these things are coinciding, right? Like one toshli, se toshli. What? One toshli, se toshli. So I'm thinking, I know a lot of people, not only Masatsin, and I know it's going to take a community of humble individuals to contribute to what we're trying to teach here, which is our old, ancient Mexica culture. So I'm bringing you to LA Natives audience and share some wisdom with us.
Well, I think as we were talking before, I mean, it sounds like you're asking me just to kind of present, I guess what I assume is just a simple, because like, I don't know, I always cringe when I hear people talking about Native culture. Oh, it's complicated and it's, it's this and that. I think, man, that's not at all the way it was taught to me.
That's exactly what I want you to bring.
Did not come like that, it was
exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's
But
the thing.
But if you don't have any idea, then it can be a little much, right? Looking at the sunstone is much, right? You look at the sunstone, you look at the Tonal Machio, and you go, fuck, there's a lot of information on there. But,
well, I mean, I think though, but I don't know, man. I don't see it that way. I myself, like, it was always at my house, it was always right there on the mantle. And so it was kind of like, I don't know, like a little monster that lived on the mantle, like I didn't, my introduction to the Tonal Machio is not the same as,
yeah.
But I mean, eventually, I mean, I was blessed because I my primo, who was at UCLA at the time, this is back in like 95, 1995. He met these people that were running a school in, south of Mexico City that was a Nahuatl, university. I was like, what? Trip out. Like, and he's like, yeah, primo, he said, well, you know how to, you speak Spanish. You go down there all the time. You go surfing and shit. And it's made, if you could take me there. And I was like, yeah, but I think I'd be into it, And so we ended up going there, and they pretty much just flipped my lid, like everything that you knew before was just, man, I hate to say it, Ruben, but a lie, just a lot of untruth about, secondhanded shit, which that's how things get complicated, and you got to cover like, oh man, what did I lie to you about? Like, what? No, man, you just got to break it back to like simplicity, And so, I mean, and so that's the way, we learned it. We learned it because the numbers are a reflection of us. Like, we are a cosmic instrument. We're a metaphor for the galaxy. You know, like in your brain is the universe. You know, the galactic energy of creations in your brain, and so you're a metaphor for that. You know, we're not separate from the garden, Ruben. We're part of it. You know, and so
Nice.
you know that's
Love that. Yeah. So okay. So since we're in the metaphor of the human body, we're basing things off of the human body. Can you talk about the numbers and the human body? Is that
All right, right. So, well, and that's the thing that was interesting. Okay, so when I learned about the numbers, you know, they taught us that, okay, well, the numbers are in your hands. You know, it's like, it's very common. We begin counting on your hands, you know, so the count begins se, you know, se is one, you know, so you begin with your finger, you know, and so you don't begin at 0, Ruben, you begin at 1,
Right.
you know, and so I think too, you know, I don't want to jump ahead here, but the concept of 0 exists because we went beyond, you know, the number 20. We went, you know, we decided not only to count, but to count a big number, you know, and so by
Wait,
being
can I
able,
stop you right there? So
okay,
okay, so you're saying that in Mexica culture, I know this, but I'm trying to
right.
student. So in Mexica culture, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's not like that, right? It goes up to 20.
Well, I mean, look, it's like that in a sense, you know, it has a count, okay, because, okay, you start with se, okay, and so se is your first finger, se.
Right.
And so that's 1, you know, I mean, if we translate it to English, you know, it's 1. Okay. So, but that's, I always trip out, Ruben, off of how, like, if I could tell it to you and I don't tell it to you by saying a number, English or Spanish, and I just tell it to you, you know, kind of like an introduction. Does that make sense? You think we could do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, okay. So this is se. Being se.
Se.
The next count, the next number is ome.
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 And let's see, I'm trying to work the camera here too, but do you want to, Ruben, just to make it also easier, I have these flashcards that I'd made.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was waiting for those.
And
so Daniel put together a sequence of flashcards, and there they are. Can you hold it a little bit more back, like just a little bit? There you go. So now I see the bar and the dot.
Right.
So if you hold it where you're at,
you should just see the dot, Ruben.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My bad. It says Danahuak.
Because we're talking about se. Okay, we're beginning at 1. You know,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay,
we're beginning at this. I confused the Danahuak, and I'm get a little blurry, but yes. Okay, I see the dot. Perfect.
Okay, so
se. Se.
And then we've got ome.
Ome.
Then we've got yay.
Yay.
Yay. Naui.
Naui.
Okay, so here we change this dot to a line.
Right.
And we call this line maquili.
Maquili, which is
now, but I also too, Ruben, would like you to think of maquili as just your hand, your whole hand. I know, you know, and I know you always say it, but this is also a symbol for tloque nawake.
Tloque nawake. Yes.
And so
the separate but together.
Yes, junto y cerca is the way. Yeah, together and close.
Yes.
Okay, and so I'm going to pause for a moment, Ruben, and just, you know, what I'd realized, and, you know, just by sharing this with a lot of people, that maquili, you know, is the completion of the, you know, se, ome, ye, naui, and then maquili completes like your hand.
So then, for example, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Then it's 11 and 12.
You're moving a little too fast, Ruben.
Okay. All right.
So we just made it to 5.
5.
Okay.
No,
hold on.
what I'm saying is
I'm even throwing myself out. I'm trying to say we made it to one hand. Okay. So that's maquili.
Maquili.
Maquili is one hand. Okay. So when we add the next number, okay, we're going to call it Chico se. Chico se.
Chico se.
Chico
It's
se.
6. Chico se.
Chico se. And it'll look like this.
Chico se, which is a bar and a dot.
Yes.
Chico se.
And you know what, too, Ruben, I was going to add, I didn't do it in this design for the cards, but I also, too, if you use the dot and change the form and make it a maíz, like a piece of corn.
Okay. You can use a corn.
Yeah, because when people refer to the tonal machotl, you know, the calendar, they say, oh, well, it's a calendar, you know, and they explain that. All right, well, the next thing would be, well, where's the numbers? Where's the count? Show me the numbers, you know? And so to me, like, I think it's important that we have to basically first look at the numbers, like try to figure out what's the count, so that we could look at it. And when we look at it, we begin to see, oh, wow, okay, I begin to see the numbers in the, you know, in the stone. So, you know, because we don't even count right. You know, I think when we're saying in English, you know, the numbers that we're saying aren't really a good reference point, because the numbers were really, because right now this Chico se really means 5 and 1.
5 and 1.
Yeah. So that's what Chico se is.
Chico
so
se.
Then you want to take a guess? What's the next number?
Chico ome.
Chicome, there you go, Chicome, and which is, and if you think about it, Chico kind of represents the number 5, and Ome is 2, so it's 5 and 2 make this number.
Chicome.
That's Chicome. 2. See, hold on, 2.
Chico Iwan ye or Chico ye?
Oh, you're moving ahead of me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right, but that's this number.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're at Chico ye.
Chico ye. That's the pronunciation. Chico ye.
Yes, Chico ye. Because we know, well, okay, well, I'll cover it in a second. So this is Chico ye.
Daniel, sometimes they used to say Chico Iwan ye. Like, what was that? Is that like a dialect thing, or is that?
Well, I think Iwan. Okay, Iwan is a literal and.
Okay.
So
then it would be 5 and 3.
Well, the thing is, Ruben, we don't really say it at Chico se.
Okay.
We say it when we get to. So you're moving ahead of me, right?
There you go. No,
it's all right. It's
eager
all right.
learner. Eager learner.
It's yeah, you are a good learner.
I'm eager, man. I want to know.
So anyway, let's come back to. So this is okay. This is Chico Naui.
Chico Naui.
Okay, so Chico Naui is 5 and sorry, is Maquili Iwan Naui is what you were saying, you know, so that's 5 and 4. So saying again, but so then the next number that completes it is this guy I know. It's his son's name actually.
Maclatli. Yeah.
So now I want to stop for a moment. Think about it, Ruben, and we got to pause at Maclatli for a reason.
Okay.
Okay, because going through the numbers, have you picked up a pattern that's repeating?
They repeat. Yeah, they repeat. They repeat after 5.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They repeat after 5.
So let's begin with se.
Se. Ome. Ye. Naui.
Maquili.
Yes.
Chico se.
Chico se.
Chico me.
Chico me.
Chico me. Chico ye.
Chico ye.
Chico. Yeah, and then we got Chico Naui. And then Maclatli. So Maclatli is like 2 hands.
Maclatli.
And then I want you to think about something, Ruben, and this is where I want to pause just on a note. When you say the numbers 1, 2, 3, you know, in that sequence, we're using 0 at 10.
That's what I was trying to point out.
But that's confusing, you know, and it's confusing because we don't need it yet. You understand that we don't need.
You don't need
still
0.
We still have more counting digits because we have our feet. Okay?
Oh wow.
Okay, so you know we've got our hands, and then so I want you to think about, like, if you know, again, if you weren't taught math in another way, we were just introducing math to you. We would introduce it to you with your hands, and then we would go to your feet. You know, your feet. So then your foot Okay, so you got your two hands, and then your first toe is maklakli, and then this is where you get iwan.
Iwan.
Maklakli, iwan.
Se.
So basically, it's saying maklakli and se. So it's two hands
Iwan
and a toe.
se.
Yeah, so that makes two hands and a toe. If you think about it, you're counting on your feet.
Okay. All right.
So,
it makes it easier to remember that.
did
you go from your hands to your toes? At toes, you're at matlatli iwan, right?
Well, iwan, you're about to add your toe, right? And then you go iwan se, iwan ome, iwan ome,
ye,
iwan ye. And here, hold on. Then you get to maklakli iwan. Well, then I'm sorry, maklakli iwan nawi.
Nawi.
And then, hold on, Rude. Let me shut this door.
Absolutely. Live. We are live.
So,
shout out to the chat room.
Okay, so this right here is called Kashtoli.
Kashtoli. So at 5, it changes again. So it's now from Matlatli to Kashtoli.
Well, again, think of it as like you've completed your foot. You're at 2 hands and a foot.
2 hands and a foot right now.
Okay, so 2 hands and a foot, and so that makes up Kashtoli.
Kashtoli.
And then you get Kashtoli iwan se.
Kashtoli iwan ome.
Yes.
Kashtoli iwan ye. Kashtoli iwan nawi.
Okay, wait, hold on right there.
Okay.
Okay, so this is, we've got these numbers that we've just looked at, and we're basically counting 2 feet, 2 hands. Okay, so we're about to complete our whole number count here because we're going to come to a circle. We're going to complete the number count. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you, Ruben?
Absolutely. Because we have so far 1 hand,
we're
1
at 19 digits,
and 4 toes.
Yeah.
We're at 1
and
hand,
so
1 foot, and 4 toes.
And you know what, too? I wanted to also take a note here because I'm starting to see some of the comments. And so here's the thing is that it's important that you're able to verbalize the sound of the numbers. And I think that, man, we're in this kind of crazy world where we speak English and Spanish of the many things that we speak. And so how we write the words translates to how they sound, and so it's very important that we sound them out correctly, and then we could back it up with actual letters that could reflect that sound. So does that make sense, Ruben? I mean,
it's kind of hard to translate that one into English, but I get what you're saying. Like, get it close to the sounding of the vibration, because really, ultimately, it was an oral culture. It was what do you call that? Like when you learn from
it was orally, and that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't written. It's going to translate all weird if you're trying to do it from whatever's to whatever's. But right now we're on 2 hands, 1 foot.
And we're about to complete the 20. And I just wanted to make sure that people were on that like it's se, ome, ye, nawi that repeats itself, those 4 numbers, and then what changes.
What's a good idea if you want? Go through the cards just one more time. So we're almost ready to complete it, right? So we got
Okay, that's all good. Do you want me to? Okay, so we'll do.
You could do it. You could do it on your own.
Okay. So se, ome, ye, nawi, makwili, chikose, chikome, chikoye, chikonawi, maklakli. Okay. Then maklakli iwan se.
Maklakli iwan se.
Maklakli iwan ome.
Matlatli iwan ome.
Maklakli iwan ye.
Matlatli iwan ye.
Maklakli iwan nawi.
Matlatli iwan nawi.
And then kashtoli.
Kashtoli.
And there's a shout out to my nephew. That's his MC name is Kashtoli.
Nice.
I appreciate his following of the knowledge. So, and then we've got, so Kashtoli iwan se.
Kashtoli iwan se.
Kashtoli iwan ome.
Kashtoli iwan ome.
Kashtoli iwan ye.
Kastoli Iwan Ye,
and Kastoli Iwan Nawi.
and Kastoli Iwan Nawi. And so now we
And,
got
and then now what we do is we're
and-
completing it. So the next number is called Sempuali.
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 And so, and I want to make the difference, make sure you understand it. It depends on the form and how you're trying to introduce the count. But so for our purposes, this is Se, this is Sempuali.
Sempuali.
Okay. So Se and Sempuali. And do you see the difference?
Well, one is, yeah. It's drawn a little different, right? One's a dot and the other one's drawn different, right?
Well, the other one has an eye beneath it.
Kind of looks like a football or whatever, yeah.
Okay. So it's supposed to be like a Pokemon ball.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. And so the Pokemon ball represents an eyeball.
Or an eyeball, yeah, there you go.
Okay, but it's an eyeball.
What?
Hello. So the Mexica, okay, in our culture,
get it,
to represent zero, okay? You fool. To represent you.
That's how long he's known me. He's calling me fool.
Hey, so to represent you, this is an eyeball looking at us at the sky. So what better metaphor for zero than a star up in the sky?
Wow, that blew my mind, Daniel.
Wow.
That blew my mind, Daniel. Wow.
But do you understand? Does that make sense? Like they
it
had
makes
the
complete
concept. The
sense.
concept was like, oh, this endless star. And so a star, what's the word for star? Setlali.
Setlali.
Okay. Our first Earth.
Wow. Setlali.
You know?
Yeah.
And so.
Wow. That was a lot.
Well,
Just knowing 20 numbers. Just knowing 20 numbers and the structure on how they came up with it, right? The hands, the feet, and then the eye for 20, right?
Well, and so, but I mean, think about that. Okay, but here's the thing. I don't mean to, throw too much at you, but here's the thing. If we didn't have the eyeball, all we'd need to do is just say, okay, well, this is Se, and then instead of having the eyeball, we would just paint it green. And so by changing its color, we would change its value.
Wow.
Okay, because it's just a different structure. And so this would follow the structure on the tonal machotl. When you look at it in all its color, it also represents its number count. Wow. Which is important because I don't know if I remember I was telling you about the number Chico, or I'm sorry, Maklakli Iwan Ye. So Maklakli Iwan Ye is two hands. It's the 13, they say. Okay, so, but if you change the number count on this, it's going to go from 13 to 260.
Wow.
Okay, so think about that, 13 to 260. So that becomes the count that it's basically the gestation period from the conception to birth.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's if you look on the tonal, you'll see where these symbols represent those times, their counts. And so you talk about 260,000. Well, here it is a fractal that would move, it'd not be 26, it would be 26,000. So
divisible by 20.
Well, and the thing is, that's by changing the colors and by following the
structure of math that they had. The structure of math.
Right.
Daniel. Man, I gotta thank you I remember having these conversations with you.
Right. But the thing is, Ruben, there's just so much to know and to talk about, and it's just how do you reference it? Because when I talk about the tonal machotl, I look at it in three perspectives, three. And so one of them's the philosophy that's in it. One of them is the count that comes from the sky, and the other one's the birth count. That's the lunar count, and so. And those are just three concepts that I understand, and so I could teach them because I understand them. But like I was saying before, I could only, I'm not learning anything by speaking, I learn when, if I share something with somebody, they get it and they're like, oh, and they could flip it and like teach me like, oh man, that's how the circle moves, and so, because the teachers that, blessed at that university that, flip my lid, change my world, and said, okay, well, now you're a Mexica. Think about it, you're not an immigrant. Like, you're not a foreigner to the land that you're from. Like, oh, man, like, what an amazing flip on, you know what I mean? To just know.
It's one thing to say that I'm original native, right?
Right.
But it's another thing to know the math sequence that was
Yeah,
created
buddy. No,
thousands of years ago.
but it's funny. How many times people say, "Hey, man, do the math." I'm like, "All right, bro, let's do it. Fucking know this direct numbers now. Let's get going." And they're like, "Huh? What?" No, so there are all these sayings to people. The thing is when you really follow the math, man, it's like a song, man, and it's a song in Nahuatl, you know. And so it's just, you know. But again, too, I think a lot of times too, Ruben, it's what's important to you. How do you incorporate this into your life? You know, what's
Right.
you know, how is it relevant? You know, for me, it's relevant because I was a teacher. You know, I can always be a teacher, but when I would introduce this math kind of approach, I'd say, man, the students loved it. You know, they loved it because it was simple. Like, and
We
it
just
wasn't, you
documented,
know,
Daniel.
complicated.
We just documented, Daniel. Do you know what we just did right now? We just took a parent who maybe didn't know the number sequence or didn't even know how to learn it, and now maybe she has a baby or a son, or a daughter or a son, and now she starts counting their fingers with the Nahuatl
Right. Well,
numbers.
that's the basic, bro. That's the
And then go
basic.
to the toes. And imagine just doing that over and over again. And that kid starts to become 2 or 3 years old and they're, hey, dime mis números. Okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
There it
Right.
is. We learn from our body. Our body
Hello.
is
I mean, the
simple.
thing is, the body is the instrument that you always have. You know, it's where you begin. If you begin with that, you know what I mean. And it's just that because not only that, if you look at the tonal, it's us in the center. You know,
Yeah.
it's
It's
us.
not.
You put
It's
your
us.
arms and your legs out. Your belly button's the center too. You know, and so, but I think too, Ruben. I was going to say, and I look at, I just noticed this from what I've learned is that when people begin to phonetically change how they write these words down, they're losing what it is. Because if you make the sound correct, those sounds denotate meanings, you know, because like, you know, one of the shirts we did with the Nahuatl was the Tonal Puali, and it was all the numbers and the symbols that went with them, and they were, you know, they're written down, and so that's a sound that was made. And so when we started that, it
Luna.
was, you know,
That's Luna, huh?
hey, stop, hey, I'm sorry, man. I'm totally live here. Hold on. Let me.
Oh, good. Don't worry, man. That's Luna. He has a really aggressive pit bull. She's really active, man. But she hangs out. Her name is Luna. Shout out,
Yeah,
Luna. You
that's
gotta
funny.
sing
No,
us
that was
Luna.
Omi. That was
Daniel.
Omi.
Oh, that was Omi? Oh, is
That
that
was
the new
Omi.
one,
Yeah.
right? The baby.
Omi's. You know,
Omi.
number 2.
Number 2.
But anyways, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, Ruben, you know, it's the man. It's just interesting for me. Like I said, man, my approach or my introduction to the tonal was like it was right there in the mantle, always at the house, you know, and so like to see it come alive, and it's like it. What I was taught is that over my life, it's a search that you do, you know, it's your self-reflection, you know, because you know one of the philosophies in the tonal is Tezcatlipoca, you know, and Tezcatlipoca represents your inner darkness, you know, your ever questioning, your enemy, you know, your greatest enemy is you. And so it's that energy that if you know our ancestors took that and went with it, challenged it, you know, and really had a whole, I think there's 8 Tezcatlipocas, you know, like that are within themselves, you know, it's that I always say when I'm lecturing, it's that voice
Wow,
that
it
says,
sounds
"Hey,
like
fool."
chakras, Daniel. It sounds
Right.
like chakras when you say
Well,
that.
no, but I say that one of the voices says, "Hey, fool, you're full of shit." You know, that's the you know that voice in
Dark
your
one.
head. You know, and so it's that battling of you know.
Well, I know
Well,
exactly what you're talking about. Here's how I know, because I started as of 4 years ago, starting to practice the Nemotemi, right? The 5 sacred days of the offset of the calendar.
yes.
And during that time, I defeat myself by fasting. I don't eat any solid food for 5 days.
Right.
And at like you start to hear that voice be very loud in the first 2 days, but then start to just die in the 3rd and 4th day because you have already went halfway to your fast. You have already made a commitment. And I'll tell you right now, the hardest thing to do on a fast is to cook food for your hungry children.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that was my challenge.
yeah.
But I started getting happy about it because I was defeating my own self.
Yeah.
I was defeating the guy that always had the right answer. I was defeating that grudge I had from, you know, a few months back that I had with my partner. And then when I went into the new Mexica New Year, I was clean as a whistle,
Yeah.
harmoniously tuned, you know,
Yes.
fasted, gave myself nutrition, and then went into the new year with a new look, a brand new look, a brand new spring, a brand
Right.
new
Well, I'm sure,
commitment.
and you feel too, because I think what Ruben kind of amazes me is just how food. I know you do the Malinali superfoods, and it's like, man, that's so on point right now because you look back and it's been, man, a good amount of time that they've just been feeding us shit and we've been eating it with a happy face, and
Mm, mm.
it's
Well, and
it's
the body suffers, and
well,
so
and
if the body
yeah.
suffers, then your energy is going to suffer, your glands are going to suffer, your kidneys are going to suffer, and how are you going to be a tuned human?
Well, I
Right?
mean, but
How are you going to
you are
follow the sacredness of our
right,
ancestors?
right.
Because we
But you
strive
are
to
what
be
you
full
eat,
potential.
Ruben.
Huh?
You are what you eat.
Yeah.
You are what you eat, and so if you begin to pay attention to that, like, I took my dad, he's like 88, I took him to the doctor today, and like, man, that guy, he just eats, bananas and strawberries and all this,
Mm.
organic stuff, and it's just like the doctors are amazed by him, and I'm just like, man, this guy's gonna pee on my grave, man. Like, like, oh man, but it's just, you got to eat right, and it's just
Absolutely.
interesting, like, and he
Well,
don't
we're
even.
on our way. We're on our way because every Sunday at the Malinali Superfood storefront in our parking lot, we're going to have a plant-based vegan brunch, and we're going to invite all the community out there. We're going to invite you to do some lectures, hopefully, and provide a space for you to have hungry people to understand these concepts, because these concepts are not hard. But if you know nothing about it, if you don't go and, like me, I didn't know, say, oh my, yeah, now I'm a, I didn't know that in a rhythmic. You connected me by going, I could picture my ancient mother pointing at my fingers, teaching me about myself, then putting me in
Right,
front of the
right,
Tonal Machiot and saying, you are a part of this community. This is a
right.
part of you.
Well,
That's
and I think
it.
too, Ruben, it's also too, I think I think it's always interesting when I lecture about it, I always talk about Seattle, you know? And so people are like, oh, it's Seattle. What does that guy do with it? Well, it's Se and Atl. It's one water,
Mm.
And so it's like people don't realize is like almost we're led to think of that as like a different, like a place name after a person, but it's not. The person was named
Oh,
after the
dude, you know
place.
what's a perfect metaphor, what you just said? It's like se atal, right? Se atal.
Yeah.
One
Yes.
water, right? Se atal. But if we call it Seattle, it'll still be se atal, but you won't see se atal. You'll see Seattle.
Well, right. And
So it's
it
there.
just changes the way it sounds, but it's
It's this
still,
weird. It's there, but it's not seen. Right? What I'm
right,
saying.
right,
It's
right.
there, but it's not seen because we've been, like you said, really misguided to believe certain. I mean, all their lies. I always on this podcast, I call out the lies. There's just lies.
And I
Hey,
just
well,
want
Ruben, I'll say too. Look at I recall clearly, and this was like, man, again too, just being online, just how I talked about how Michigan and Michoacan could very well be the same name, and oh my God, it got lit up. Ah, damn, you're crazy, this and that. Like, like, damn, really?
I mean,
That's not it.
phonetically, not the way people get caught up on spelling. It's not about the spelling. We're talking about phonetic language. It's an
Well,
oral.
but I mean, right. And so the thing is just how the sounds change, but at its core, these things are, fortunately, I think that we're based in a language that's based in numbers and basically minerals, energies, animals, they're things that are observed. And I think what gets lost in the culture is that what we did is we observed nature. And as we observed it, we documented it. We gave it a name, and it was part of what we lived in. So, there's so much documentation that our people did here on the continent. And just because you don't speak English or Spanish, you're really not, you're stuck to having somebody translate it to you. And you have to trust that person, is in good heart, in good way, is sharing you something, and it's just,
They've never been that way, and that's why I'm talking. That's why we're talking about se'ata. Like, if we're trying to say that the ancestors warehoused all the information in Mexico, Tenochtitlan, and went all the way to se'atal, to one water, to get information about climate or how to distribute water or whatever it is that they're going out there to learn, or their what are their practices on water. They go to one water, se'atal, and bring it back to the warehouse of. See, that's what I'm saying. But if we call it Seattle, oh, How do we say that? How do you spell that? Say S-T-A. Oh, well, that's a way. It's close
Right.
enough, right?
Hey, well, Ruben, I remember traveling in Minnesota and seeing, Sempuala, which
See?
basically 20, and Maquili, and it's just like, damn, you see that these words, are all over the continent and that's the thing, Ruben, you could, and again, I don't like to get in debates of stuff to me that's just like, man, clear as day, like
Right here,
language
we
is how
express
you
opinion,
connect
though.
shit.
I want to
Again?
make it clear. I want to make it clear, though. Right here on this show, you express opinion because we're not debating, unless we're debating.
No, of course not.
Unless
But
we're
the thing is-
debating about Biden being
right.
humanitarian.
But Ruben, you know what? The reason I bring this point up is because I do this all the time, and maybe this will bring it into light more. But why do they call them Yankees? Who called them Yankees? Where does that word come from? And every time I say, people will look, oh, let's look it up in Google. Like Google's gonna fucking know what that is. No, they don't. They have no idea.
Right.
Why they called them Yankees. And so, I remember a maestro breaking it down. It made simplicity. It was like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. And so,
Why did they call them Yankees?
because, okay, Ruben, and I'm going to answer you the way I always answer you, almost with a question.
Yes.
What do you call the New Year?
I don't know. The Mexican?
Okay, the Mexican year. What is it called? What's its? What's part of the woods? Yanquic.
Yanquic. Yeah, I remember. Yanquic.
Yes, Yanquic Shimulpili.
Yanquic Shimopili.
Yeah, and so, well, Shimulpili is a 52 count, so it's the new fire. Okay. Okay. So it's Yanquic. Okay. Wow. If you say it fast enough, what does it sound like?
Yankee. Yeah.
And so, yeah, you again too. People will light up. Oh, now you're crazy to say. Well, you know what? I'm so crazy. The fortunate or unfortunate thing is that it's not mine. I just am repeating a story that an elder shared, and it's like, oh, damn, that makes sense.
Which is what this great sunstone is. It's just a story that an elder shared, and we took it back and we compared it and we documented it and we published it.
Well, but Ruben, that thing's etched in stone, brother. Like you can't
publish it.
You can't just, people try to rewrite it. People try to read, like there's a fool out there that says, oh no, they had what is it, an extra day? Like, yeah, right. That's funny, funny how the guy's like totally mimicking the European count. All of a sudden he's saying, oh, the Aztecs were all about the European count. Dude, really? So again, dude, you just, we didn't have that. We didn't have an extra day, but if you think about that idea, they added an extra day that wasn't necessary. So since the invasion, every 4 years, they lose a day. Or they add a day. So, think about that one, and that goes back to that. Like the whole leap year idea is just, it's not our concept, man. We look in the sky and we see harmonious counts and we know, how it balances out. There's a ceremony.
It makes sense to me. Look, it makes sense to me. Look, so every year in the Gregorian calendar starts at midnight. But in the Mexica culture, it coincides with this fake day that comes on, right? Because the carriers of time, push it to, like, if it starts at 6 a.m., it'll start at 6 p.m. the next year. And then the next year it'll start at midnight. I don't know the exact sequence, but it does it like that, right? From my understanding of
Ruben, it's actually it's simple. It's a very simplicity,
it's simple, right? It carries
what they do is they just start every other year at noon.
Right. And but they have a symbol to them, right? Like Doshli starts at 6 a.m.
Yes.
That's the purpose of. That's how simple it is. That's what I'm saying is the simplicity of our ancestors' complexity. But then you're contrasting it with narcissism, Gregorian Roman narcissism.
Well, I wouldn't even have to say. I think it's almost more as simple as that one's a fact and the other's more of a story or a creation.
It's based on narcissism. It's based on narcissism because Gregorian calendar. There was a Gregorian individual who said, "Name that calendar after me," right? And there you go. Roman narcissism. There was
more though, but Ruben, I think that everything they do and normally what they do is centered around money, and so it had a business. reason for it, and so I think it's just, in the native world, they didn't have money, they didn't have a monetary system, that nature didn't have a monetary form for them. They were in balance with nature, so nature was more like a song that they understood, and they understood the nuances
From
of
my
it.
understanding, Tenochtitlan, Tlan meaning abundance,
Right.
right? So
Here, hold on a second.
if you have the philosophy of nature and you're adding Tlan to your language and Tlan meaning abundance, then you're in the concept and the consciousness of abundance, right?
Right. Well, the thing is,
Masatlan,
Ruben,
Masatlan,
well,
Tenochtitlan.
right. And it's interesting you say that because again, too, man, you just see you gotta be careful, because I saw people online criticizing Tenochtitlan because they were breaking it down and rewriting it in different syntax. Who knows what they were saying?
But see that to me though is like when people start to debate, I'm talking phonetically. I only
Right.
talk phonetically and orally. We have examples of documents, but they all lead to a repetition of an oral tradition.
Right.
It
Well,
obviously,
here's
it's
the thing,
based on
Ruben.
your body and your hands and your digits.
Right.
The simplicity of the four carriers of time, right?
Right. But I
Toshli,
would say, like,
Kali,
okay, with the
Toshli,
example,
Kali, Akat, Tekpat.
but
Toshli,
I would
Kali,
say,
Akat,
Ruben,
Tekpat.
with the example of Tenochtitlan, okay, a Tenochtli is a red cactus fruit.
Right.
Okay, so it's the land where the red cactus fruit is abundant.
Right.
So if you go there, even today, you go to where the Templo Mayor was, and there at the base are cactus growing with a red cactus fruit coming out of it.
Wow.
So it describes that place, and so but if you know the language, you know what a Tenochtli is, you know what Tlan is, like, these to us are, it's kind of like people say, we're from Atlantis. Well, in our language, Atl means water. So that would mean that we came from water, and so in our language, our story, our history just goes that way, the same way that Citlali is from the stars. Our ancestors came from the stars, and they have, a place, our stories tell us how our evolution was on the planet, here on the earth. Like we have a creation. Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to point out is that by working with Malinani Superfoods, I understood food and the way they made food. Right. So when you start going, okay, spirulina, which is a blue-green algae, which can grow abundantly, right? It's a very abundant food source. Chia seed is a very abundant food source. Maca root is a very abundant food source. Cacao is exotic, but it's still very abundant. My point is, Tenochtitlan, the place where the cactus grows abundantly, means that you're in an abundant state of mind. You don't have any scarcity. We live in a society that is very scarce all the time. Money's scarce, food is scarce. Now health is scarce. Now just being healthy is scarce.
Right.
Where in our conceptualizing of this universe and the landmass that we live on, we live in abundant. Tenochtitlan, Mazatlan. There's these clans, there's these places where they're just abundant.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
nature is abundant. Nature innately is abundant.
Well, I would agree.
The concept of scarcity. That's what I'm trying to point out.
Well, but to add to that, Ruben, that abundance was supported by people that nurtured it.
Yes.
And so
the consciousness that I'm talking about. That's the consciousness.
I mean, because I think that we were an active part of that system, and so I think it's almost like when you go to third world countries today and you see just so much garbage piled up.
Poverty.
Well, you see scarcity, but I guess I'm meaning is that you see so much garbage, Ruben, because they never embraced or took, the constant garbage of wrapping shit, and so like I see it in Mexico a lot, that you just see so much wrapping, it's so much of stuff that's like, wow, they never had a use for those things. And then now, because I mean, the concept of garbage is a new concept,
Yeah. Right. Because
something
we were a self-sustaining culture. Like even our excrement was used in our, I mean, it's a very extreme example. It's a very extreme example, but it fertilized the bottom of the lake where the fish ate.
But I think
all
too,
that
Ruben,
stuff.
what's fascinating too, I mean, you kind of say it quick,
But
but
we were
it's
all organic, though. We got to remember, we were all organic,
right, right.
superfood up
But
the
Ruben, think
butt.
about
You
it.
know, like
Our
not up the butt.
ancestors,
That's the wrong.
our
wrong-
ancestors had such
Sorry.
a fervor to survive that they ate, you know, bug larvae. You know, they ate
Mm.
bugs and critters, that stuff that today you'd just say no way. But do you know what I mean? To be that at that level of just knowing what they had to eat, you know, like you said, it's abundant. Okay, like
Mhm.
when you begin to look at nature differently, like, oh damn, okay, that's. I mean,
Well,
you
the
know,
only reason I know, the only reason I'm talking about abundance, and
Mhm.
when I, the Mexica people were known for growing spirulina.
Right, right,
Spirulina was a very important food to them. But when
right,
you eat spirulina, you will realize that spirulina oxygenates the blood, it gives your mind clarity, and it severely decreases your appetite. So you
wow,
weren't eating a lot of food. You
right,
weren't
right,
eating a lot of food. So if you ate a bug or whatever, a larvae, you're eating it for nutritional value. And you
right,
weren't eating 10 or 20 of them. You were lucky. Oh shoot, there's one. Boom. Throw it down. Because it's particular minerals. It's certain
right,
minerals
right,
that they were after. What are minerals? John Trudell said it the best. John Trudell said, "We are Mother Earth. Mother
right,
Earth is
right,
metals
right,
and it's
right,
minerals. So when
right,
you consume minerals, you are consuming your Mother Earth because you are her and she is you.
right,
You are
right,
minerals." We were a very mineral based culture. You don't come up with this complexity of a sunstone without being
right,
on foods that are oxygenating your brain. You're all
right.
organic produce. You're all organic. Your spirituality is about tuning yourself with the sun and the rhythms of nature. Come on.
Well, I
That's
think
who we
too. That's
were.
what I think the challenge is too, Ruben. I think that for people of color, but more indigenous people, like we had such a strong diet that man, today we suffer from diabetes because it was just a real hijacking of our diet. And so man, we really, yeah, we would benefit best from returning to those old ways because our DNA is already set to embrace that.
And it happens immediately, Daniel. It happens
Yeah, I'm sure it
immediately.
does.
When you eat, a lot of people ask me about the Malinali superfood packages, the ones that I make, and they're like, "How long does it take to feel?" It's like, Armando, how long did it take you to take that? When you took the mineral, when I gave you the mineral the first time, how long did it take you to feel it?
It was immediately.
Absolutely, 10 minutes. It doesn't have no process. There is no take it for 7 days, wait
Right,
till it
right,
builds up in
right,
your blood
right,
system. Our abuelos were geniuses. And I don't like
right,
to hype
right.
them up, but I love them and I respect them and I respect their life and I respect their work. And that's why I say it. Like I would say to a 90-year-old man, just, I love you, man. You lived on this earth and you gave me
Right,
wisdom.
right.
You gave me
Well, I
wisdom.
mean, that's the thing, Ruben. Yeah, I think everything that we've got, was from our ancestors. I mean, we're built on a very solid foundation, on this continent. That presence of them, like you were saying, the tlans, the places where humans lived and prospered and thrived. And so, they're the
It's almost
outlying,
like New York City, right? Like a
right,
Talan would be like a New York City, but instead of saying, "Oh, look at the Wall Street bustle over there," they're like, "No,
right.
there's a lot of food over there. You can sustain a family over there, and there's so much abundance. You just have to get along with the neighbors. Who knows how that's gonna go? But
You're
go with
funny.
good heart, and you'll be okay." You
Well,
know?
I think Ruben, but that says a lot about really the history of Mexico City and the Mexica because they came into a place that was already inhabited, and so they had to take, the worst place, But I mean, that's what they got, and they made the best of it, and that's interesting enough that in their travels they had gathered so much knowledge, really, from the basin of Utah from up to Seattle, around Minnesota, all those travels to going down south and being able to use all that information, I'm sure intermingling with tribes and, gathering information. But by the time they were down there, they were ready, and to take advantage of whatever opportunity they had,
Right.
and it's again too, you look in universities in Mexico and Mexico City, like, man, they're just rich with a lot of information. And I always kind of giggle, when people, I'm just repeating a story I was told, man. I'm not reinventing the wheel. This is, this is not mine. I'm a messenger. I'm not the creator of these stories. I'm just, went to read, found a book, spent time with somebody who had, knowledge, and sometimes you just are open to it, and it comes to you. And, there's, a lot of good energy still, a lot of, we're in our homeland, we never left.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing that Masatin said, that, our culture never destroyed itself.
Yeah. Well, so far, I mean,
it wasn't, in other words, it wasn't a result of our own ignorance that brought down our great sunstone. Our great sunstone was completed. Right. Our great sunstone was completed 13 years after they came.
Right.
So but that's the beauty of what Masatin said, and I'm sure you're in agreement, where he said they completed the work. They completed it. As long as they completed the work, no matter how many books they read, they were going to leave one. They were going to leave another one. And then that was going to be the spark. And I love what he said about the darkness, right? The 500 years of darkness. But he said there was always a candle on, though. There was always a candle. There was always a Theo. There was always a friend. There was always a brother. There was always
I think too, Ruben, when you think of it too, like in a metaphor, and it's the way I saw it, and the way it seemed, explained to me, was that when the invasion began, it was a time of darkness, and so that darkness played itself out. And as the darkness played itself out, now, fortunately, we're in the light, and we've been in the light since '87, but we've been in full illumination since the year 2000. And so, this is all part of
the math.
I don't know.
The math.
It's the math. It's a spiral. It's a spiral spinning through the galaxy, and it's a mathematical spiral spinning,
Yeah. Well, thank you, Daniel. I really want to appreciate
Thanks for having me on.
Bro. And just, this isn't the last time you're coming on, and
we're
going to invite you to our Patreon, and this is something that I'm building again, but not just talking now. I remember we used to talk for hours and hours at the booth.
Right.
I know people would gather around us and kind of ask us questions, and this is how in depth this conversation has been going on.
And I really appreciate everyone
on the chat
staying in tune. With this.
On the chat?
In the chat, everyone's just hanging out with us.
Oh, wow.
Listening to this, this is a workshop for me.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I wanted to bring down simplicity. Right now, we went really deep with Masatin the other Wednesday, but this time we wanted to go like Daniel. He just has a way of explaining it so simple.
But it is simple, bro. Like, I'm not doing anything.
But it's it's a talent, though,
it's
bro.
Your fingers and toes, like shit. I just remember when I first learned, and people would tell me, "Oh, it's so complicated. I don't know if I could tell it to you." I'm like, "Oh, really? All right, well then, peace, bro. It's all right. I don't need complications, But
yeah, man. Yeah, well, that's the genius that you are, man. And
bless you. Yeah, well, thank you, Ruben.
I appreciate
you're my reflection, bro. You're my reflection. So yeah, anytime, Ruben. I think it's I'm glad that there's this platform, where we could, discuss things and, be able to hopefully enlighten people or just share something you didn't know.
We're just beginning, bro. We created a community. We're about to launch it, and you've always been a part of my life. I mean, we never lost touch.
I laugh when it's like I know your wife would come in and go, "Man, did you guys just break down a bunch of like we were just sitting around talking,
Yeah.
So it's I guess it's about time someone else chimed in.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a platform, we have a hungry audience, and all we can do is just what Masatin said is and it's really good metaphor. He's all, you won't get it. If you study alone, you won't get it. It has to be given to you.
Right.
It has to be given to you. It has to be given to you. And that's a very humble way of seeing that this knowledge is not your superpower. It's not your advantage. It's not I'm an eagle. I could see you from a mile. No, it's about you living within the parameters of that energy, living your tonalama in a way that, like, when I'm Malinali, my business name is Malilani Superfoods. Not on purpose.
Right.
But that's who I am. And what is a plant? What is a herb? What is a plant? What is a tree? What is that? They gather information.
Right.
and create it into food. But there's the flip side to that.
Right. No, I agree.
Burn
I was going to say,
yourself
Ruben,
away.
I think for me, Ruben, man, the knowledge has been a quest. Like I've been searching for knowledge. You know what I mean? It wasn't passive at all. I really, because I went to school, I went to university. I was like, man, this doesn't seem like all the truth, you know? And so, you know, like it just, you know what I mean? And so for me, I had to just seek it out. And you know, I was just coming across too much that didn't make sense to me, you know? And like,
Right.
especially taking history, you know, being a history major is like, wow, that's kind of weird. But, you know, again, too, it's just one of those things that I found that the deepest, you know, the best knowledge was stuff I had to go seek out. You know, it wasn't, and then I learned that too. I think that the Mexican knowledge is really for people that are hungry for it, you know? And once you begin to get hungry, you get a little bit, oh man, it's just a beautiful thing. It's not, you know what I mean? It makes you want more, you know? And so,
Yeah,
it's a good, you know, it's a good
It's
source.
like food. It's like Mexican food. Like,
Yes,
you know,
I would
real
definitely say
Mexico
that.
from Mexico
Regional,
City.
having different, yeah. And but again, too, we would think about it, just learning and just being able to be exposed to different things. You know, it's very, very Mexica-esque. You know, to have
Right.
many
To
perspectives.
incorporate everything, right?
Yes,
Like,
I think
you
think
know,
that's why we don't understand
Like
it.
Comandante Marcos said from the Great Zapatistas, un mundo que tiene muchos mundos, you know,
Yes, yeah,
worlds that live within worlds,
yeah,
right? And the
very true.
Mexica path is to learn those worlds, you know,
Right,
respect
right.
those worlds, humble yourself to many
Right.
worlds that live
Hey,
within.
but also too,
worlds.
Ruben, the blessings that it's a circle. You know, it's a circle. It's not a line. You know, and so this circle's making a circle. You know, and so we're,
It
you know,
repeats. It repeats. It's
yeah, we're part of the next circle, you know, and so it's just, you know, because I think too, Ruben, you know, one thing you have, and I know people feel it, is when you have a love and a passion for what you do, it comes out, you know, and I think people that don't have that, it's like their words, they land and they just fall on the ground, you know, and other times it's like an energy that lifts you up, you know, and so.
So, yeah, brother, man, like I said, you're going to be included in everything that we're doing, you know, from this point forward.
Right on.
The gang, the band is getting back together.
That's funny. I hope so. Well, yeah.
Well,
you
not
just
that
gotta
boo,
move
but
forward.
I'm just telling you.
It's funny. Hey, but it's all good, bro. You know, it's like
Metaphorically.
you just got to do things in a good way, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love El Vuh. I love El Vuh. You know,
Hey, we all do.
I was just joking. I was just joking.
Hey, but it's all good, man. Everything is supposed to be where it's supposed to be, you know. And you know, if our hearts are in a good place, it'll guide. It'll be a good way to guide us, you know.
You know me, Daniel, I've never changed. I've always remained the same. Whatever seat I sat in, you've seen me very wealthy. You see me very poor. You see me now. You're seeing me here on LA Natives, and as someone who's a conduit to this information. You know, so thank you for coming on my show.
Yeah, likewise.
Our show.
Thanks for having me here.
Let me correct myself. Our show.
Our show. That's fine.
Our show.
Hey, bro. But anytime, you know, it's we got to put in for the greater cause.
Absolutely, Daniel. Well, I'll call you later.
All right, brother.
Okay, doke. Damn.
Another amazing conversation.
Man, it's like I remember talking with this dude like for hours, and like everybody's house is packed up, and it's like 2 a.m, and we're like, you know, and putting together the pieces of jigsaw puzzle that I had before Masatzin, you know, came with his legendary episode. I think the chat room's very excited about it. What was it like?
The chat was amazing. If there's anyone who wants to give us some feedback, let us know in the comment section. We would really appreciate it. Man, that was probably one of the most amazing podcast episodes I've produced so far. This brother Daniel is a true one of a kind.
He's really smart. He has a way of being able to. It's like he teaches a 5-year-old, but I'm 46, and he makes it funny, and he's a really good personality, and I'm sure he's gonna come to our vegan brunches at the Malinali Kali, and it's gonna be, we're gonna set it off, man. The new time is here. You know what I mean? And we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of, you know, strategizing to do, because many things are happening on our planet, and we need to contribute to that with knowledge, with compassion, with love, with dedication.
I really appreciate everyone watching this live and tagging us on Instagram. I went ahead and shared a couple of those posts, man. It just means a lot when people are engaging actively live with us through social media.
It's their
and spreading
information.
the message, spreading our podcast.
It's their information. It's stuff that I read and conversations I had with some very dedicated and committed individuals. Masatin was committed to his knowledge quest. Daniel was committed to printing shirts that represented the culture, breaking down that with the flyer. You know, I remember those days.
And I can't wait to those exclusive Patreon videos that we're going to launch with Daniel, man. I could already imagine the type of topics you guys are going to be tapping into.
I got some cool coaches, man. Like you know, when I'm looking at the information, Masatin calls me 2 minutes before I'm heading on to the podcast. I mean, literally before I come in and sit here, he's like, I'm on the phone with Masatin, and he's all, and I'm gonna repeat it again. He's all, you ain't gonna get it. I'm all, dude, I've been like reading and studying the thing. He's all, you ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna get it. And I was all, Uncle, what do you mean I ain't gonna get it? He's like, someone has to give it to you. And that's an abuelo passing on information to his next generation.
So Boog says knowledge, some food for thought, creating thought for food, some content to teach the kids too.
Absolutely. I see Boogs is a dope MC, is right. That sounds like he's a dope MC. Boogs, if you're an MC, you gotta submit your music, man. But
those 2 hours flew.
It's 2 hours?
Yeah. We're 2 hours in.
Holy. Wow.
I hope everyone
30 minutes.
really enjoyed this podcast segment, this Wednesday's discussions, Warriors think tank. We had Daniel, our very good friend, join us today.
Yeah, from the University of Danahuak. He learned in 1994.
So if
information.
We have a couple comments, you know, people seeking out his services, you know, where can people find him?
Well, that's again, it's going to be all centralized on our website.
Okay.
You know, if they want the flashcards, I'm sure I can.
Man, we had several comments about those flashcards.
Well, the flashcards are available. We just got to talk to Daniel.
Yeah.
Just like these books are available, we just got to talk to Masatin.
Yeah.
Now, if you go seek them out independently, we can't control any of that.
No.
But if we tell you that we just put up the flashcards that we received from Daniel, you better go buy them, because we don't know when they're going to come back. You know, we're trying to create organization. We're trying to create consistency. When you talk about my powder, you could call Malinali and we'll get it.
And there's a key word that you mentioned. It's the pipeline.
Yeah, it's a market.
We need to create this pipeline, this market.
Yeah, it's a market. I mean, how many items can we have on our website? I mean,
unlimited items.
Unlimited items. So there you go. We're going to create a big tianguis with everything that we talk about in this website. You know, we have to have this information, the prudent information, the information that's going to help you with your daily life, the information. We're trying to bring solutions to you. Enough talking shit and identity and all that. I don't mean to be rude, but we have a lot of work to do. If our ancestors culminated 26,000 years into a beautiful stone that still can tell you what to do today, we have a lot of work to do on this continent. In a humble way. And this is our contribution. Malinali is my contribution. LA Natives is my contribution. We had a promise 500 years ago that our sun would find dignity and shine upon us again. If we learn this sunstone, if we humble our spirits to asking ourselves, looking in our own mirror, which is the sunstone, is your mirror of you. How did we learn our 20 numbers? Through our hands and our feet. We are a reflection of the universe. Then we are reflecting the beauty and the essence of what it is to be a tuned human being, which our ancestors called themselves Aztec. Use your heart, the mysterious place the place of will, the place of love. Let it guide you. And know that you're connected to the great grandfather that sits in the sky. Our great Donatu, our great promise. We'll see you on Sunday, I suppose. LA natives, Tlasucamatli, Ometeo, Tonantzin, Tonatu, Mexica